There is a moment, and you have lived it, when everything you are building starts to shake. Not collapse, not end, shake. The thing you were working toward feels further away than it did before you started. The energy you were holding so carefully begins to slip, and somewhere underneath the confusion, a quiet voice asks, "Did I do something wrong?" You didn't. What you are inside right now is not a setback. It is a threshold. And the universe does not bring you to a threshold to stop you. It brings you here because you are almost through. But almost is the hardest place to be. There is something the universe does that no one warns you about. When you genuinely commit to a new reality, when the desire stops being a wish and becomes something you actually believe is yours, the field around you begins to reorganize. And before it reorganizes into what you called forward, it first has to disassemble what was already there. This is not cruelty. It is physics. You cannot pour new water into a vessel that is already full. The disassembly feels like loss. It feels like resistance. It feels, sometimes, like the universe has turned its back on you at precisely the moment you needed it most. And this is where most people turn back. Not because they stopped believing in their desire, because they didn't know that the chaos was the answer. Think about what you are asking for. Really think about it. You are not asking for a slightly better version of your current life. You are asking for a different frequency entirely, a different way of moving through the world, a different relationship with time, with money, with love, with yourself. And the version of you that exists right now, the one reading this, the one who has been carrying this desire, that version was built for the life you are leaving behind, not the one you are moving toward. The universe knows this. This is why it tests you. Not to see if you deserve it. You already do. It tests you to see if you have become it. There is a version of you on the other side of this threshold. She carries herself differently. She does not flinch at the same things. The circumstances that would have shaken her 6 months ago, they move through her now like wind through an open window. She is not harder. She is cleaner. She has stopped carrying what was never hers to carry. The tests are not designed to break you. They are designed to reveal what you are still holding. Because you cannot walk through a door carrying furniture that belongs to the old room. So the universe creates pressure, not from the outside, from the inside. It turns up the heat on everything that no longer belongs in the frequency you are moving into. Old patterns surface. Old fears speak louder. Old relationships reveal their true nature. The things that felt stable begin to feel uncertain. And underneath all of it is the same quiet question, asked not in words, but in feeling. Are you still choosing this? Even now? Even here? This is the test. And it is not one moment. It is a sustained field. It can last days. It can last months. And the ones who walk through are not the ones who felt no fear. They are the ones who felt it and kept moving anyway. Not by force, not by white-knuckling their way toward the dream, but by softening into it, by trusting the discomfort as information rather than evidence of failure. The old self does not dissolve quietly. This is something no one tells you. It fights. It argues. It shows you every reason why the new version of you is a fantasy, why the old way was safer, why this desire was always a little too much to ask for. And it is convincing, because it has been with you a long time. It knows your voice. It speaks in your words. But you have already started to hear the difference. The moment you can feel the rebellion of the old self without being ruled by it. That is the moment the threshold begins to open. Not when you have arrived. Not when the circumstances have changed. Before. The shift happens inside before it appears outside. This is not a metaphor. This is the actual mechanics of how energy moves into form. The inner reorganization precedes the outer one, always, without exception. And so the practice, during the test, is not to push harder toward the outcome. It is to become more fully the frequency of it. To ask, in the middle of the chaos, how would the version of me who already has this feel right now? Not what would she do? How would she feel? And then to let that feeling inform the next moment, not the next year, the next moment. This is not performance. It is not pretending the chaos isn't there. It is choosing where to place your attention inside the chaos. And attention is the only currency the universe actually trades in. There is something else happening during this time that is easy to miss because it doesn't feel like progress. But it is the deepest progress of all. You are being emptied. Emptied of the stories that were keeping you small. Emptied of the certainties that were actually limitations. Emptied of the relationships, the habits, the self-concepts that belonged to the old frequency. And emptiness, before it is filled, feels like loss. It feels like grief. It even feels, sometimes, like you are disappearing. You are not disappearing. You are making room. And here is what making room actually looks like from the inside. It looks like a day when nothing works and you cannot explain why. It looks like a conversation that ends something you thought would last. It looks like a plan dissolving at the moment it was supposed to come together. It looks like stillness where there used to be momentum. And in that stillness, if you are very quiet, you can feel it. Something underneath the loss that is not grief. Something that knows. Something that has been waiting for exactly this opening. That knowing is not hope. Hope looks forward. This is something older than that. It is the part of you that exists outside of time, outside of the story you have been telling about how things are supposed to go. It does not need the outcome to believe in the frequency. It already lives there, and it has been trying to pull the rest of you through this threshold for longer than you realize. The test is not asking you to be certain. Certainty is a mental state, and the mind is not what moves energy. The test is asking you to be present, to stay in the body, to feel what is here without immediately trying to change it or fix it or explain it into something manageable, to let the discomfort be large without letting it be final. Because nothing about this moment is final. That is the thing the test wants you to discover, not as a belief, but as a direct experience. The chaos is not permanent. The uncertainty is not permanent. Even the old self, for all its noise and resistance, is not permanent. Everything that is shaking right now is shaking because it is loosening. And what loosens, eventually, releases. You do not have to accelerate that process. You do not have to earn the release by suffering more skillfully, or believing more perfectly, or performing a version of trust that looks good from the outside. You only have to stop fighting the current. The river already knows where it is going. Your only job is to stop gripping the bank. This is what the universe has been saying, underneath every test, inside every moment of apparent reversal. Let go of the version of the story where you control the timing. The desire is real. The frequency is real. The new reality is real. It exists. It is already formed. It is already waiting. The only question has ever been how long it takes you to stop standing in the doorway. And you are not standing in the doorway anymore. You are moving through it. Slowly, perhaps. Imperfectly, certainly. But moving. The universe does not test you because it doubts you. It tests you because it is preparing the space for everything you asked for to actually land. And it needs to know, not intellectually, not through your affirmations, but through the lived evidence of your choices, that you have become someone who can hold it. Because abundance does not go to the person who wants it most. It goes to the person whose energy has become its natural home. You are in the test right now. Something in you already knew that before you clicked on this. You recognized it in the title, in the first sentence, in the feeling that moved through you when you realized someone was naming what you were living. This recognition is not coincidence. It is the universe reminding you through whatever small signal it could find, a video, a feeling, a moment of sudden stillness, that you are not lost. You are in the most important passage of the journey, the one that happens just before everything changes. You have not been forgotten. You have not been abandoned. You are not behind. You are exactly where the transformation requires you to be. The threshold does not ask you to be fearless. It asks you to be willing. And if you are still here, still choosing, still reaching toward the frequency of the life you know is yours, then you already are. If this found you today, it found you for a reason. Subscribe. There is more waiting for you. And tell me in the comments, what is the one thing the universe is asking you to let go of right now? The answer you feel in your body, not the one you think you should say.